Judicial Watch is stepping up on behalf of the American people to hold Congress accountable, hold the police accountable, that the left pretends they're interested in doing, but it seems only Judicial Watch is doing it honestly, at least in this case, and holding the federal government accountable. So the Pelosi Congress continues to investigate 1-6 through a Star Chamber type proceeding that's controlled by one party. I mean, completely anti-constitutional, anti-rule of law, targeting innocent Americans with requests for their personal phone records and seemingly willingness to even get into their emails and other documents. In the meantime, they are sitting on records, not only Congress, but the DC government, about what happened on January 6th, and namely the issue of the killing of Ashli Babbitt. Now, Ashli Babbitt was the only homicide victim that day. She was shot by a police officer who has finally come public, despite his name being hidden improperly for 7 or 8 months by the Congress, the U.S. Capitol Police, and all the rest of the corrupt classes running the city. She was shot and killed as she climbed through a broken interior window in the United States Capitol. She was unarmed, and she's also she was a 14-year Air Force veteran. The identity of the shooter was kept secret, as I said, by Congress. And U.S. Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd went public to try to defend his killing of Babbitt just a few weeks ago. Now, Judicial Watch had sued for the records about her death. We had sued the Office of DC Medical Examiner and DC Police for records about the death. How did this shooting take place? How did she die? What were the circumstances? They stalled the release of the conclusion of her report, frankly, until we started pushing and pressuring them. So we've gotten records from the Office of Medical Examiner, but we haven't gotten any records from the DC Police. And what's interesting procedurally is that typically when you sue under the Freedom of Information Act, either at the federal or state level, the agency responds, answers the complaint, and gives a time frame for when they're going to turn over documents. And they've been stalling just answering our complaint. And they asked the court for an additional 30 days. Which unfortunately the court granted, but we opposed it. What was the language we used? It was really simple. DC has brazenly violated the law on an issue of significant public interest and seeks delay for nothing more than delay's sake. And, we filed this lawsuit. When did we file this lawsuit? In May. And it's June, July, August, September, October. They went 5 months to answer the complaint. That's absurd. But that's DC. And so if you're an American citizen killed by a police officer in a situation in which you were obviously unarmed, it looked to me like she was obviously unarmed. She wasn't brandishing any arms when she was trying to get into that room. You're going to be treated differently. The police are allowed to get away with being secretive without any questioning about how the police officer behaved because it's Trump. She was a supporter of Trump, and the rule of law doesn't apply to supporters of Trump. And because we're asking tough questions of the police department gets a pass on the basic transparency requirements we expect from any other police department. In this case, the DC Police Department. At least, the open records law doesn't apply directly to the U.S. Capitol Police. We've had to sue under the access to public records under our common law right to know. And we're being fought by the Pelosi Congress. So as everyone talks about January 6th and all this debate, Judicial Watch is the only one who's actually in court seeking information about what went on. We're seeking the videos. We're seeking the documents about the killing of Ashli Babbitt. As I said, we're seeking Pelosi and Milley's secret communications about trying to undermine Trump in a seditious way. Judicial Watch is stepping up on behalf of the American people to hold Congress accountable, hold the police accountable, that the left pretends they're interested in doing, but it seems only Judicial Watch is doing it honestly, at least in this case, and holding the federal government accountable. And, we only do this with your support. We're only able to do it with your support. So I encourage you to support Judicial Watch. I've given you a pretty good taste of what we do. And if you're not supporting work like this, what sort of work would you be supporting? Now, I know not everyone's able to provide financial support, but I encourage you to do so if you're able to, and get the word out. Get the word out. These documents I'm talking about, share with people. Share with the people on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all the rest. Get the word out. Educate your fellow citizens about what we found.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.